Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Three Man Weave College Basketball Podcast. We are here in the off season, the heart of the off season, the throes of the off season, I would say. It's mid-July. I'm here with Kai McEwen. Matt Cox is taking care of multiple babies. The guy is running around on a vacation right now. We might get some pop-ins from Matthew, and hopefully we do, Kai, because we're talking about our top 100 player rankings. They have released on the brand new Basket Under Review website. More on that in a second. But we have top 100 player rankings out. Lots of discussions, arguments, hate, love, all sent our way. Kai, Matt is definitely a part of those controversial rankings. We'd love to get his take. But first, Mr. McEwen, how are you feeling? The only one of us in your home recording studio today.
It feels good, Jim. Feels good to be in home base. Yeah, I have a couple issues with my own rankings, so I understand the qualms
Good.
from those in the Discord and from Twitter that we've heard about. Um, Fun making the list as always, but also an impossible task. And I challenge you out there to make your own top 100 list to be dissected by the masses. No, Jim, we expected the feedback. It's always fun to banter back and forth. It's fun to make up arguments defending people, and it's fun to admit when, frankly, you just forgot about a guy.
Yeah, or just I didn't get to go back through the list one more time, and felt like I should have corrected that. We definitely felt solid about our consensus list by the end of it, Kai, but we knew we had some big time um, gaps in the ranking, not gaps, wide, disparate rankings between Weavers, and that led to some discussion points, which I think is fun that way. I don't think any of this should be group thinky, should have differing opinions. So I'm glad we had that, and it led to a lot of good Discord discussion. We're going to get to some of that today here on episode 408. Look at us go, chugga chugga choo choo along in our new 100. But first, we're going to get a little Roots Roundup. We will have a pod review at the end. It's a very fun review, so I encourage you to stick around for that. I think it's a good one. And we've got our top 100 player reactions. That is the heart of the episode. We'll talk some of the controversial rankings, some teams, just some of the feedback we got. We'll either defend it, we'll put a hand up and say, we probably missed this one. I think it's a good way to go back and comb through those rankings and see how we did, how we self-eval, and how really other people evaluated us too. But first, a little shout out to Jay Pitty, aka Mr. Joe Pascal, the composer of our opening tunes. We appreciate that as always. Follow us on Twitter at underscore three. No, it's not at 3MW underscore CBB. It's not the old one. Not the old one. 3MW underscore CBB is that handle. We are also the same on Instagram. Subscribe to the pod on iTunes or Amazon, Spotify, especially that's where I listen to my pods, but wherever you get them, check it out there. Leave reviews. We do go through the Apple reviews. So if you leave one there, we'll discuss it at the end of the pod. Feel free to include a question, make it your own little mailbag. We are very okay with that. And subscribe to the YouTube channel where we are streaming live on this lovely Friday morning. You can see our faces. You can see Matt as Yoshi right now. Hopefully he pops in and shows his glowing mug, but it's just Kai and I right now. And of course, we have to plug Trilly's new website, Basket Under Review, of which we are a big part of the umbrella. It's new podcasts, it's new writers. It's a great stable of people who love college hoops. It is basketunderreview.com. It's a beautiful website on mobile or on web. Great place to read, Kai. And we've got two great pods. One might be in limbo. We're figuring that out right now. But it's going to be a hub of content for people that just love college hoops. Hopefully, a unique way of looking at the sport, analytical, but also some deep dives, some breakdowns. Rocco Miller's going to be talking schedule type stuff. Will Warren's fantastic writing is there. If you've ever read his newsletter, he's going to be coming over to Basket Under Review, and he had a great piece this week. Kai, tell the people how you feel about Basket Under Review.
I love it. Trilly's goal is college basketball Grantland, and it kind of looks like it. The site itself is beautiful. I think Under Four Creative made the site. Jim, I don't want to, hopefully that's their name. But fantastic job. Articles are coming out every single day during the week. Our top 100 has been releasing. Jim mentioned the Will Warren articles. Those things can take you a whole day to read, but they are super interesting, super in depth. He puts a lot of time and thought into them. Jordan Majeski is going to have stuff out there. Brian Ralph, Kevin Sweeney, and Eric Fawcett are doing videos. And then Jim mentioned the pods. Iman Brennan is going to have the flagship Basket Under Review podcast. It's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, you get access to the actual Discord by joining the site. which is great. If you like chatter, if you like chopping it up with other diehard college basketball fans and us, we're in there all the time. I think you really enjoy it. So check it out.
Yeah, got it. Use Basket Under Review podcast, aka Burp.
Burp.
Got to dial into the Burp. The first episode was with Ken Pomeroy, talking mostly expansion of the tournament. It was great. Highly encourage listening to that. Should be another one to add to your pod rotations out there, folks. That's it, Kai. That is our intro. We love talking Basket Under Review, but we are going to get into our pod, which means starting with a quick Roots Roundup. That would be news and notes. We're going to talk Roots Roundup here. But first, a shout out to CBB Analytics, a big time sponsor of the Three Man Weave and a crucial member of the Top 100 Countdown. If you're out there and you have read any of the articles, you saw the beautiful graphics that Nick put together, a shot chart for every single returning player. Unfortunately, don't have those for incoming freshmen or internationals, but shot chart, some percentile ranks in advanced stats. They're all in one metric. RAPM is on there. Really encourage checking out CBB Analytics. It's a fantastic site. I still, Kai, uncover something new every single day, going through some of the top 100 player rankings, looking at new stats. Like, oh, there's crunch time stats. There's player combinations, not just single on off. There's so much stuff you can go through. Whatever you think you want to know about your team or a future opponent, I think you can get it from CBB Analytics. So get to cbbanalytics.com, use promo code WEAVE for $40 off of your subscription. We can try to direct you to our favorite places most used if you need any feedback on that, because it is such a wealth of data. But it's the best CBB statistics website out there. Really, promote that, and we're glad we have that as a year-long sponsor because we are using it year-long. Key part of our incoming top 50 previews and full country previews. So you will see that cited frequently if you want to be ahead of the game. Get to cbbanalytics.com, use promo code WEAVE, contact us if you have any issues with it. All right, Kai, let's talk Roots Roundup. News and notes. We'll start with a key headline. We always talk a little bit of realignment here. Louisiana Tech has been invited to join the Sun Belt. Sounds like next year is coming. I believe there's a Texas State backfill to make sure they stay balanced there. CUSA continually getting rated. It's a weird layout of a league. Sort of makes sense here for Louisiana Tech, Kai. Kind of a shrug for me, to be honest.
It's a shrug for me as well, Jim. You can picture Louisiana Tech in the Sun Belt, so I'm okay with this. Geography, it makes sense. It's okay. Bulldogs, you did a fine
Yeah,
move. Fine move.
and we're very pro geographical logic in
Yeah.
conference assembly. So big fan of that. You've got Louisiana, you've got Monroe, Sun Belt's already got plenty of schools down there. Southern Miss is down in that vicinity.
Jim,
So
fun fact also,
yes.
I believe, I was thinking about this, I just confirmed it with the powerful internet. Yes, Louisiana Tech used to be in the Sun Belt back in the late 90s, early 2000s. One of their coaches was Keith Richard, the very former ULM coach. Full circles all around us.
Yeah, time is a flat circle, Kai. Crack open a Lone Star and tell me about it. Let's move to coaching news, Kai, because there's one that I think we both have an opinion on. Tennessee State, who we thought was going to go the interim route with Eric Buggs. Sorry, Eric Buggs. After Penny Collins took a job with the Memphis Grizzlies, they made a rather surprising move and hired Nolan Smith, who is headed to the Memphis staff. I think he was on the Memphis staff last year, but
Mhm.
formerly of Kenny Payne's staff, notoriously on Kenny Payne's staff at Louisville. Kai, he also opened his mouth on Twitter and made it clear he doesn't know what analytics do, what the point of them is. That was the one that kind of just lost me completely on Nolan Smith. If Matt was here, he'd say, that's my guy, the people's champ, a Dookie. He's a legend. But Kai, I'm concerned about how this is going to go given his assistant track record.
Yeah, Jim, he was one of Matt's favorite players at Duke, maybe top one. I've heard many people say how great he is in person and how he was on the court. The analytics discussion on Twitter and elsewhere have really soured me on him as a head coach. I will be fading Tennessee State frequently, and I'm excited, Jim, to hopefully line my wallets with cash. Cash, cash, cash.
Yeah, that does sound very appealing. And there's a big name. Maybe he reels in players because of that. I don't know if he's going to have some DIY NIL type stuff where they'll get good players into the OVC, which is wide open at the top every single year. There's no true powerhouse, although we do love Little Rock, as noted on our mailbag episode. There's a chance for success there for Nolan Smith. I get why he took it. It is an HBCU. They've got a good legacy there, but I just am skeptical of the coaching ability, Kai. So we'll see how that one plays out. But I'm entering with a little bit of raised eyebrows at Tennessee State. A quick waiver denial, Kai. Luke Goody not getting another year at Indiana. He's going to move on. The point of this waiver, he had played the end of a season after missing most of it and being injured, which I think is, according to the rules, the definition of the rules, what they give waivers, it makes sense that he did not receive it. I know Florida Kai was thinking they'd get the same for Handlockton last year. This sets an unfortunate precedent for that, but Florida won a national title, so I don't think they really care too much about that extra year. But Indiana, counting on him as maybe another shooter. We'll see if they go and grab another international or deep portal get to try to backfill that spot. But the rotation looks pretty stable, and I don't think this impacted the way we ranked Indiana in our top 50.
No, and I don't. I continue not to understand the waiver rules, Jim, because we got guys all around the country right now that have 6 years. Goody's played 4. I think he missed the COVID cutoff. I'm pretty sure,
Yep.
which is crazy. I feel like he played during COVID, but I guess not. I don't get it. Devin Askey's playing a 6th year. We got. I just did a preview notes for Texas the other day. Several guys, 6 years. It's nuts to me, Jim.
Feels like Tremont Mark's on his
Trevon
ninth.
Mark,
That,
that's the
that
guy.
guy. I can't believe he's still around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel too terrible here.
No.
It's just that when you knew the rules, if you came back, that is pretty clearly not one you're going to get a mulligan for. So, hey, at least the NCAA stuck to their guns there. One other piece of random news notes, Kai, really cool scheduling bit here. I was excited to see. Kennesaw is hosting South Florida in the inaugural Love Wins Classic. This is in honor of Amir Abdur-Rahim, the late coach who passed away before last season. Coached at both of these schools for anyone that is not aware of him. He was the coach at South Florida, had won a conference championship, seemed like a big time rising star in the sport. So, Kai, I was very glad to see this kind of tip of the cap to him. South Florida going to a smaller, I say in air quotes, smaller school, and just celebrating the legacy of somebody that pretty universally loved in the sport.
Yes, very cool. And I guess it makes it easier, Jim, that the current head coaches at both schools were former Alabama assistants. Hodgson and Petway probably got together, helped facilitate this. I love it all the way around. Love wins. Yeah, going to be a great little back and forth. Kennesaw is always going to be solid, I think, now that they're in CUSA and he's kind of built the foundation there, and Petway has continued it. And South Florida, of course, one of our rising stars this season, Jim, could compete for the American Conference Championship.
Yeah, I think they're ahead of Memphis on Hoop Explorer and definitely in the vicinity on Bart Torvik. So they're going to be in the hunt for that crown coming for Penny's throne there in the American. All right, Kai, that's really all I have for news and notes, Roots Roundup. So we're going to hop into top 100 player feedback. We'll go through each of the daily posts we had honorable mention and then sections of 25 released Tuesday through Friday. Though at the end, we'll talk a little bit of data. Maddie assembled some data on the teams that were in there the most. We'll talk a couple of specific teams, Kai, where there were qualms thrown out. Why not enough people? How do you have this many guys in there for a team? And maybe the team's not going to be that good. Lots of discussion of that, Kai. But let's kick it off in the honorable mention section with a very energetic fan base in the Discord, Kai. That would be Illinois. They've got some good representation. And Andrei Stojakovic was a name that came up. They were surprised he was not top 100. And you, Mr. McEwen, agreed with them.
Yes.
So I'm going to let you state your case, and I will try to effectively rebuttal if I can, because I was the low guy.
Yeah, I did have him top 100, Illinois fans, so praise me. I think he's very good, obviously. That goes without saying. Has he impacted winning yet during his 2-year career? No, not necessarily, but the Cal team around him, I'm not sure that was entirely his fault. All I know is the guy can score. Again, I've said this before. It doesn't really look like he's doing anything special out there on the floor, but the ball just goes in. I think Brad's going to use him very well in the Illinois offense, and I expect his efficiency to rise as a result with having guys around him who can actually set the table for him. A guy like Tomey who can kind of cause gravity, create gravity away from him as well.
Yeah, I think I'm very on board with the efficiency rising. I think that's something that just makes a lot of sense to me. The spacing they're going to have, I talked about it on the Isaac Trotter show with them having the best shooting fives in the entire country, which is going to open up the lane, and he's a great slasher. I'm curious what the volume of his scoring is like there because I like Boswell. I like Mihailo Petrovic, the point guard that's coming over. He's not a true scorer, but he did put up 14 points a game in the Adriatic League, big time passer. I just wonder if there's going to be some perimeter balance there rather than Stojakovic staying up around 16 points a game. Is he a good defender? I'm not sure about that. That whole team is really going to be, how are they defending? But the offense is going to be fireworks show, and I just ended up leaning more towards balance with them. But Stojakovic is top 100. I'm not like adamantly against that. I think I had him 141st, Kai, inside my
Yeah.
top 150. So it wasn't like I totally disregarded the guy, but not as high as they wanted me to be. I will own that. Now, Kai, do we want to talk Duke now, or do we want to table it for the end? I'm going to let you decide.
Oh wow, gosh, wow. Gonna start off really hot here, Jim. Let's talk Duke. I want to talk Duke.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
So the issue that Duke fans had was that we only ended up with one top 100 Dookie, which is Cam Boozer, I believe. Did he end up third, Kai? Is that where
I
he?
think he was third behind JT Spoiler and Braden Smith. Yes.
Yes. So two awesome players returning All-Americans. We have Cam Boozer in that stratosphere. We think very highly of him as a group, but we didn't know what to do after that with the Duke pecking order. It's kind of a Rorschach test with that roster. Who do you think is going to start? I don't think even Duke fans know this. And this came up every time we even talk to Duke fans in the Discord. They can't even agree on who their number two, three, four guys are going to be. And so we did kind of throw our hands up a little bit. We had three guys in honorable mention: Caleb Foster, Isaiah Evans, and help me out, Kai. Who's the other one?
Was Ndonga an honorable
And
mention? Oh,
Ngongba
Dame
was
Sar. Dame Sar.
151. Yeah, Dame Sarr,
Dame
the
Sar.
international coming over, a very highly regarded pro prospect, great athlete. And Ngongba was number 151. So they almost had four in that honorable mention. Malik Brown is also very good. I am a fan of Caden Boozer. I think he's actually, um, he's kind of polarizing because people are like, well, he's not Cam, but he can't shoot. I don't know. But he's a great passer. He's a good fit with a bunch of other scorers. Brown is in there, and then Kaminia, the incoming freshman who played FIBA and is going to probably fill a role as a front court spacer. There's a lot of really good pieces there. I think it's hard to sort. I think, again, like I said, Duke fans are not sure who the best of that group is going to be. And Matt says in a comment in our outline here, we did whiff on Colin Knippel last year, didn't have him up in the top 20. It's just kind of, I know that Duke is going to be awesome. I don't know the pecking order. I'm okay with where he landed, but I do understand why it gives Duke ammunition.
Where did we have Conke? Do we rank him last year? I thought we did.
I don't believe
We did not.
so.
Okay, that's a whiff. Sure.
Yeah, and there was kind of some skepticism of the hype around him because of the hype that Proctor had gotten
Right.
2 years prior,
Sure.
and yeah,
Freshman rankings in general are very difficult unless your name is Cooper Flag or maybe in this case Cam Boozer. The Duke thing, it's tough. You mentioned, yeah, Duke fans don't even know who their second best player is, but just look at the evidence we have so far. It's like Isaiah Evans, okay, fantastic shooter, playing in a lineup with two top five picks and a bunch of guys that can set the table and take away from him. Now you're going to be in a featured role or a more featured role. How do you step up? It's not a guarantee. In Gongba, Jim, played 10 minutes a game last year. I'm sorry, I can't rank you in the top 100 right now. You're not there for me, especially if you're competing
especially
with
when
minutes
there's
with Malik Brown, right?
exactly. It's not like he's a clear 30 minutes a game guy this year.
Yeah, if you're playing less than 20 minutes a game, there's one guy in the country I think that could make a case to be in the top 100 for that, and that's Tugler because of his impact defensively. And Gongba's not there for me yet.
Yeah, and Malik Brown has the flip side of this coin. He didn't play all that much last year because of the shoulder injury. I don't know for sure that it's going to be 100%. I know he had offseason surgery and is coming back from that. It's not fully healthy even now as we speak, but hopefully that answers all the questions there and gets him on the floor. And when he is on the floor, he is a scouting report destroyer as a defender, a good passer. He also took 7% of Duke shots while on the floor last year. Kai had a high-ish turnover rate because he never shot the ball.
Mhm.
He's not that much of an offensive player because he's so low usage. He can be a passing hub, but is he as good a defender as Tugler? I think Duke fans would say yes. I would say no. Um, but we also, again, don't know what the playing time is going to be with him. Is it 15? Is it 18? Does he get to cross 20? Does that cancel out in Gangba? It's a difficult one to parse there. A quick give my Dame Sar. I've watched him. I've looked at some of the stats. Combining that Kai, I think he's gonna be an awesome defender, great athlete, elite transition type player. I don't love the shot form. I don't love that his career like 57% from the free throw line. If you add up all the FIBA and international stats with Barca, he made like 41% of his threes last year at Barcelona, but that was 8 of 19. So I'm going to take that grain of salt on the sample size. I think he can be a really good piece. I think his upside is more pro destination, so I didn't want to go overboard with him. But then is Evans going to start? Is he going to fight with Sar? There's just so many question marks there that I couldn't commit Kai. And maybe you just take a stand on ranking Isaiah Evans 60th, and if he doesn't start, you deal with it. But
Yeah,
I don't know. It was a tough one to weigh out there.
it was. I'm okay with where we ended up, Jim. I'm okay with it.
Good. That makes two of us. So, Duke fans, your team is going to be awesome. Let me be very clear there. This was not a statement of, oh, we doubt Duke. Kai, you were talking, oh, I could see them falling. And I said, falling? He said, to 10th. I was like, okay, well, that's not really descending too far. I think Duke fans will survive if they land 10. There's a lot of talent there. It's not that proven together. We'll find out how it works. A couple other smaller ones, Kai. Nick Davidson, a guy that I had ranked in my top 150 and just kind of popped up. Last year you were the Clemson beater of the drum and tried to get Matt and I on board. And this year they don't have as much continuity, so it doesn't look as fun on paper. But Davidson does make sense as a fit there in terms of big shooter. They can kind of move him around. He can be a little bit of a PJ Hall-esque player, a little bit of Shefflin-esque. Like that type of player has worked under Brad Brownell. Did you consider Nick Davidson?
Yeah, it's good. It's a good shout, Jim. Good shout. Would we have included him if he was still at Nevada? I don't want to apply this rule to everybody because it's very inconsistent, but I don't think we would have. Yeah, he's a just miss for me. There's a lot of good players.
Yep. Yeah, I think we each have like a list of 60 guys after our 150
Yeah,
just strewn down through the spreadsheet where it was hard. I feel like I was moving guys in and out of that 150 constantly.
yeah.
Davidson, I think will end up being a good piece, but we have to see how good Clemson's going to be. Maybe he isn't the one that emerges. It's guesswork in the portal era. And speaking of guesswork, Kai, Tennessee's supporting cast. I think we know Jacoby Gillespie's going to rock. We ranked him very high. All of us, I think, had him in the top 15. I think he landed 12th. Felix Akpara is the defensive center, going to be the foundation there. But what do we do beyond that? And Nate Ament, the incoming freshman, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. So if it's Ament, I'm sorry. But big, long, skilled guy that went through a growth spurt late in his high school career, Kai, big time pro upside. He's still very thin. We have to see how the shot translates. He's going to maybe be playing some 2 and some 3 when I think he's a more natural 4 because of his size. There's some questions with how Tennessee, the offense functions next year, but there is a clear path to production for him because their wing core is not overly strong.
Yeah, I think a bigger exclusion than Davidson from the top 100, Jim, for Amit, because he's top 5 in the class, I think, of 2025, or at least
Yep.
up there, right? We're ranking guys below him in the rankings, above him, which the rankings are not end all be all, but it's fair to question. Yeah, I think he's going to have a pretty high role, and we know what Tennessee's produced on the wing the last couple of years. Not saying he's Lanier or Connect, but he could put up numbers in his freshman season. So I think a very fair gripe to have him not in the top 100.
Yeah, I mean he's got the length. Like they those two, both Lanier and Connect, kind of the can get into the mid range, and he's got that high release because he's like a 6'11" wing or 6'10" wing. It does make sense just because of how Gillespie's not going to score 52 points a game. The production has to come from somewhere, and it pretty logically seems like Ement and Cade Phillips maybe will be breakout types. I'm not an Amari Abram guy, so that one could end up aging poorly just because of the role he's going to have. And then I wanted to have a section, Kai, where we each make a case for, two-ish honorable mention guys that we were higher on than the rest of the weave. Matt had Rink Mast and Dallin Hall as his boys here. He's got them in the spreadsheet. Unfortunately, he's not here to make the case, but Mast as the offensive fulcrum for Nebraska could have been like, sort of forgotten because he was out all of last year with an knee injury and is now back for his final year. I kind of like it. It makes sense. I just wrote Nebraska for our team previews, and he is going to be like very, very important. They've got big man depth, but he's the clear best two-way player of that group. Kai, quick rink mask thoughts?
I think he's very good. Yeah, if he didn't get hurt, I think last year we probably would have ranked him in the top 100. Dallin Hall we did rank in the top 100 last year, so fair question by Matt. I don't know. He's just kind of he's not exciting, I guess. He's a table setter, which is not a qualification for making the top 100, but an easily forgettable guy, and someone that nobody even had a gripe with, right? Because of that.
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly it. I think if you don't rank Hall, it's never going to bite you where he ascends to a top 50 player. That's just is he solid enough to be a top 100 guy? Sure, probably, but you can slip other names in there if you want, like somebody like Ement has higher upside. All right, Kai, which two or three did you pick of your honorable mention, or really of our honorable mention that you wanted to have in the top 100?
Yeah, we talked about Stojkovic. Milan Momcilovic from Iowa State, I think probably deserved a top 100 spot. We gave his teammates Lipsy and Jefferson spots, deservedly, of course. But without Gilbert, without Curtis Jones, the scoring load needs to be picked up by somebody. I think Momcilovic is a pretty obvious candidate there. You saw the impact he had with Iowa State when he was off the floor last year. I think they were 3-3 over the 6-game stretch that he missed. You might not say it's that bad. Well, it is for Iowa State, who was an incredible team last season. So I think Momcilovic deserved a spot. And then I hate to say this one, Jim, because I wouldn't want him on my team necessarily. So maybe that's a disqualification just in itself. But
Now you got to go to war for him.
but Desmond Claude, I mean, you can't tell me there's 100 more talented players in college basketball than him, and I think that really stems from me watching his like two best games of the season back to back last year. It was Illinois Iowa. He averaged 28 points per game over those two games and literally was unstoppable. USC beat both those teams, won at Illinois, beat Iowa, and nobody on the floor could stop him. It was crazy to me. So that's just kind of like stuck in my brain. Overall, efficiency wise, he wasn't great, but talent wise, and he's going to take a lot of shots. Washington, I'm sorry. You might love Yates. I love Yates. You might love Steinbach and all those other guys. Claude's going to take a lot of shots. I guarantee it.
Yeah, and that's where it's like I almost wish if he wasn't there, I kind of like the fit of the team better because Kai, you mentioned Steinbach.
Yep.
He is one of my guys that I fell in love with in the FIBA U19 World Cup, and maybe that was a more optimal setting for him than a fairly crowded Washington team. But he put up 18 and 14 on good efficiency and just the eye test. He has great hands. He can catch on the move and make a dribble or two in the lane, not be completely bothered by guards swiping down and size trying to bug him. And the rebounding, I mean, he's just like a magnet for the ball off the board. Just ate those up. And so I think his touch, his footwork, I think he's going to end up looking really, really good for Washington. So I wanted to make the case for him. And then Nolan Winter. This feels like when we rank Wisconsin every year, we're like, are they really going to be that good? And
Yes.
kind of exceed expectations. And Kai, yes, you were the high guy last year and ended up very correct. It's just this assembly line of bigs for Wisconsin. Doesn't matter who they are. They're pretty much all from Minnesota, and Nolan Winter is also from Minnesota. He had a through the roof O rating last year. I think as he continues to add strength and becomes more of the defensive pillar inside, taking over for Crowell in that role. Really good interior complement to John Blackwell and to Nick Boyd on the perimeter and Andrew Rohde. Oh, I guess I'll give him a nod too. And they need him to be because he might start alongside Aussie Rapp, the Portland transfer, who is just a unrepentant take 10 threes a game, 6'10" guy. So you need a little more physicality in the paint. And I think that's going to come from Winter. So wanted to make a quick case for him. Those are our honorable mention guys. Okay, Kai, let's now get into the top 100 countdown. There's going to be some crossover with honorable mention in some of the debates. But from our 100 to 76 posts, so the initial batch of 25, Just a little discussion about Xavier Brown at Oklahoma versus Nigel Pack. We had Xavier Brown an honorable mention,
Hmm.
Nigel Pack as the number 100 player. My quick response to it would be we've seen Nigel Pack be awesome for a top 25 team that made the Elite Eight. I think maybe the Final Four team he was on. I can't
I
remember
believe he
exactly, but
was on the
like,
Final Four team. Yeah.
yeah, like big time shooter. And I know he got hurt last year, and Miami was so horrendous and such a dumpster fire that it's easy to just put the stink on all their players. But he did get hurt and wasn't as big a part of the dumpster fire as it descended into the depths down the stretch. I kind of think I know what I'm getting from him. Defense isn't great, but I don't know that Xavier Brown's an awesome defender. I don't know. Where do you land on this, Kai? These two guards, they're probably going to play together in the Oklahoma backcourt.
Jim, I think it's exactly what you said. Pack is a proven power contributor, starter on multiple power teams. I think like K State, Oklahoma, Miami. Well, he hasn't played for Oklahoma yet. Xavier Brown, a fantastic talent. I think he's awesome. You've played for the number 99 team. You've played for the number 85 team. I don't think Billy Lang is a great coach. Sorry. Didn't mean to disparage Billy Lang. We have a review asking us not to do
Yeah.
that. But that should matter, right? His teams are what, 20 and 16 in the A10 over his 2 seasons there. And if you're the lead guy last year and your team wasn't that good, I'm not putting you in the top 100 over a proven power guy right now. You're taking a step up. You're taking a different role. I think it's fair to exclude him from the top 100.
Yeah, Eric Reynolds didn't have a great year last year, but they had an NBA player in Razier Fleming, like
Yeah.
running all over the wing, a great defender, two-way guy. And so the fact that they couldn't get up there, I don't know what it says there about Brown. Matt does make the point in our outline that Porter did hire his dad from St. Joe's.
Ah,
Or is it his dad? I know it's like he came with an assistant. I can't remember if it's exactly his
okay.
dad.
That's a red
But
flag for me, Jim.
well, Kai, then I'd hate to tell you why Jason Crow Jr. is going to Mizzou,
I know.
but
It's a red flag.
yeah, okay, yeah, I would agree.
I'm sorry. If you're a
I would
package
agree.
deal with a coach, it's a red flag.
Yeah, I don't love that. Remember all those package deal guys at UMass with the
Yeah.
one coach Woodstock, I think was the academy, and that experiment kind of blew up in their face. So we'll see if it works out for Brown. I'm pro pack. I ranked him. That's why I have him in the top 100. Kai, let's talk non-shooting point guards. So they were a big topic of
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Tayton Connerway of Indiana, Jeremy Fears Jr. of Michigan State. There are actually a couple others that came up in this, especially when compared to Michael Brown Jr., who's just the arguably the best player in the FIBA U19 World Cup. He didn't win MVP. They gave it to Debansa, but this was a fun debate. Like, is Fears good enough defensively and as a passer to overcome his warts as a shooter and scorer? Same question. How does Connerway have enough scoring pop without being able to shoot it all, translating up to the Big Ten? Thoughts on these 2 point guards, Mr. McEwen?
Yeah, I wanted to go back to see where I ended up with Michael Brown. So, man, yeah, I put him down at 85. I had him really high in my first draft, like 50th, and I guess I moved him down too low. Um, it's easy to defend against the freshman thing, okay? Again, if you're not transcendent like Cooper Flag, I'm okay not ranking you top 10 because it's such a crapshoot. It's such a crapshoot with freshmen. Michael Brown's not a guarantee to translate right away. He has a really good supporting cast in the backcourt next year. Those guys could play over him. Like Woodley or Woodley. Gosh, why am I?
Wooly.
Woolley
Yep.
from Kennesaw State is awesome. Conwell's awesome, etc. The Connerway versus Fears thing. Yeah, I put Connerway ahead. I think Connerway is an elite on-ball defender. You saw it at Troy. I think he's got that winning intangible quality that I try to like permeate throughout my rankings. Not always consistent, but he's kind of like a Lipsy in which he is a winner. Lockdown defense like Lipsy. And Fears to me was a little bit disappointing last season. I thought he was going to step up a little bit more. It turned out to be a Richardson show. Holloman had a lot of playing time as well. I just didn't think he stepped up in the way I expected him to. So he got the nod. Conway got the nod over Fears for me in those two head-to-head rankings.
Yeah, I was a Fears guy there. And I think if Connerway had Fears a season this coming year, Fears series last year, if Connerway had that this coming year, I think that'd be kind of a success. Like big time passer. Fears is
Yeah.
also a really good on ball defender. Steal rate would come down a little bit for Connerway, where he was like, top 5 in the country, just a total terror. It is a little alarming. He's not a great rim finisher, or can he be a great rim finisher in the Big Ten? I guess not a great free throw shooter, not a 3-point shooter really at all, but neither is Fears. So it's again a little bit of the Pack versus Brown thing where I went more proven route with Fears there, and Michigan State was a tough team to figure out because Richardson gone, Aiken's gone. Um, and you just like, is Jackson Kohler the guy? We'll talk about him a little bit, maybe at the end of guys that were notable missed cuts on the honorable mention. But I wanted to give Michigan State some love, and I just think Fears, who's averaging, he's putting up 7 assists a game. If he bumps his scoring a little bit with his on-ball defense, he's a very useful piece. And we had a little internal discussion about Conaway versus Lamar Wilkerson, who is getting rave reviews out of practice. Wilkerson, the big time shooter. That could also be he's making more shots than Connor Way, so he looks awesome in practice.
Yeah.
That's his game. It's kind of a more eye-popping type of game. So I could see that being just, people coming out of practice seeing that. But I do like Wilkerson. I think he was a big part of them winning the CUSA regular season, not last year, but the year before. They kind of had a rough one last year at Sam Houston with some injuries and stuff, but I'm a big believer in him. Indiana's another one you can kind of rank it differently based on how you feel, just after Tucker DeVries, who was the clear number one. And then Michael Brown Jr., yeah, great in FIBA U19. He weighs like 140 pounds. That's exaggeration. It's like 165. I think he's going to really struggle to score inside the arc. Can get bumped off his line on drives by bigger, more athletic defenders. It is good that he's in the ACC and not the SEC or the Big 12, but man, can he shoot. And that's going to be a very helpful asset for a roster that already has a ton of shooting. So there's going to be a lot of driving lanes to get into. So that's one, like Kai said, you can just make a case when you haven't seen the guy play in college. You can just be like, I bet he's going to be a god, and
Right.
and we'll see.
It's
Maybe he will
everybody,
be. He
right?
was, yeah, yeah. And that's the international case. We'll get to that as well. I was high on some of those guys. We haven't seen him in college. We don't know how they'll look. We'll find out with Brown Jr. Are Jim and Matt too high on Mikey Lewis for St. Mary's, especially when compared to being a little higher than him on Paulius Morauskas, who is the St. Mary's best returning player, most productive returning player? Lewis has very high usage, and it's kind of the Kai, is he going to ascend with more minutes or more reps and more on ball chances with Goose headed out of there, no more Jordan Ross. I'm buying that breakout. And buying, he was incredible defensive metrics as well last year, but that's because he played with awesome defenders. I'm obviously buying the breakout. Kai, you're staying a little skeptical and looking more at Morauskas.
I am, Jim. I love Morauskas. Again, the eye test is very biased, I guess. If you've seen good games, you're going to gravitate towards those guys. And I saw Morauskas put up some big games against, I thought, pretty solid competition. Mikey Lewis, Matthew says, I like his comment in the chat here, or not the chat, the outline. He says, um, he doesn't, he's neither explosive nor strong, which doesn't translate to elite competition, which I think is right. And he mentioned he had a great game against Gonzaga. He certainly did. I think he had a really bad game against Gonzaga too. He had a 5-point game and was 2 for 9 from the field, 10 for 10 from the field. But yeah, he's proven he can play with the big boys in terms of Gonzaga. I just think it's a little early to move him up top 100. I see the potential. I know the system. But for me, it's a wait and see. I ended up ranking him top 150 because I do believe in Randy Bennett, and I think St. Mary's is going to be good, but not quite all the way to top 100.
Yeah, big time projection, but it is the lead guard, Randy Bennett, just kind of always gets better. Is he going to be a little more on ball? Does he see that to Duckett from San Diego, who's shaky? But I just think he's going to be so productive for a team that's probably going to exceed expectations. So went to bat for Lewis. Kai, let's talk Mizzou, because we even got called out for being anti-biased on our Anthony Robinson rankings,
Yeah,
which surprised me a little bit. I mean, he is sky high in CBB Analytics, RAPM, sky high in Evan Mia's rankings. So the individual stuff, like we could have made a case for Ant to be even higher, but he drives me nuts a little bit, takes terrible fouls, disappears sometimes, and even Gates won't ride him, even sometimes when he's not in foul trouble.
yeah.
So that made me hesitate. Were you just trying to avoid bias, or did you actually have real hesitations?
I mean, kind of. He looks like our best player, Mizzou's best player for the start of the year. Like I thought he was absolutely terrific. He really faded down the stretch. Like you said, he was frustrating. You look at his analytics; they're insane. And had the seventh highest steal rate in the country. He is a bulldog, like on ball defender. He creates havoc. Um, but yeah, he played like 20 minutes a game a lot of the times. That's not his fault. It's mostly Gates, but he got in foul trouble all the time.
Yeah, he fouled out of the NCAA tournament game in like 14 minutes.
Yeah, he felt like he really disappeared a lot. And I guess that's the difference between fan insider, like knowing your team really well, versus like the outside analytics guys. And then, of course, once again, that's throughout this list. You're going to know your own guys better. So that's what kind of held me back on him a little bit, Jim.
Yeah, and I was the same way. Just some of the silly fouls that take himself out of games and force himself to the bench drove me nuts. And I mean, he made some huge plays. He poked it away from Hunter Dickinson to kind of clinch the Kansas win when it looked like the Jayhawks were coming all the way back. He can be a star. It's just, can we get into a bigger sample size, get him into more minutes? I just don't know if that's going to happen because Gates loves to play 12 people and it probably only plays like 24 minutes a game again next year.
I got to find out how some of these rankings work, Jim. The Mia rankings. I got to see the secret sauce.
There's a lot of on off in it. So
Yeah,
you like kind of
yeah.
implying your impact, but sometimes there's
Okay.
shooting sample size and who you're playing with, who you're playing against. Yeah, that's why it always takes subjective help in these rankings rather than just writing them ride or die on what a computer spits out at you. All right, 75 through 51. Kai, quick Terrence Arsenault tangent because I think some people were like, that guy was a seventh man at Houston. Are we really going to rank him 60th in the country, 65th in the country? I say yes. There's another guy who looked incredible in those all-in-one stats. It really passed my eye test. Elite defender, can be a little maddening offensively. It reminds me of when Tremont Mark transferred away from Houston because his shot selection wasn't always great. That's, I would see Sampson just screaming at Arsenault at times, but he's just a really good basketball player, kind of think unleashed in a much bigger role at NC State with a still really good coach and Will Wade. I'm a fan.
Yeah, major contributor for, you know, top three team in the country last season. Probably the second best team in the country after Duke. Oh no, I said it. Florida, number three. And I think he had a good trajectory as a freshman too. I think he got hurt, I believe, sophomore year, so kind of held him back a bit. But yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Underweight at NC State, I think he's gonna blossom. You really got to take with a grain of salt counting stats from teams like Houston that don't play a very high pace, so they might not look very good on paper in terms of that production hitting you in the face. But I do think he's gonna be great at NC State.
Yep. Agreed. Miles Rice, big topic of discussion. Even our guy Dylan Burkhart called us out on Twitter, Kai. So we had to have a more
Yeah,
even
I
public
got a
discussion.
response to that one for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
Um,
go ahead, go ahead.
well, yeah, he said how many Big Ten teams would even take Miles Rice as their point guard or trade for him. I think he said like
He
two.
said
Ended up
two.
settling closer to 4 or 5, but
Yeah,
I think
like
it's higher than
6,
that. And
7.
you gotta understand the Mike Woodson tax. Like Baco's
Yes.
probably gonna be better outside that system. Miles Rice was better outside of that system as a freshman who hadn't played in 2 years because of a red shirt and a bout with cancer. Then he struggled last year in bad spacing in a system that has been pretty poor to point guards consistently. I mean, look how absolute garbage Cannon Carlisle was there.
Mhm.
The fact that Rice was even respectable is a good sign. And now he goes to a system where he just needs to get shots up on the rim, don't turn it over, kind of like he did at Washington State, and just run the show under Buzz Williams. I think it's a really good fit and a perfect like post type breakout sleeper type guy.
Yeah, he was in a bad situation last year at Indiana. His freshman year, you mentioned it, 15 points per game and the point guard for a tournament team that overachieved by a mile from the preseason rank at Washington State. Very impressive. I think he's due for a huge bounce back. Hey, someone's got to take the Wade Taylor role for Maryland this season, and I think Miles Rice can definitely fill that.
Yeah, I hope he's a little more Wade Taylor than Zurich Phelps. That's all I'll say because Phelps
Yes,
was a
more
brick.
Taylor. I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think
And
Rice is
I,
that
yeah.
bad of a shooter.
No, and I had Rice a little outside my top 100. So I kind of, get the skepticism here. I wasn't like going to war for him as top 50 or whatever, but I think there's a pretty clear case to be made for what he could be in his new surroundings. All right, let's talk Seth Trimble, Kai. You,
Yeah.
you are buying, buying, buying. You is one of our wider gaps in the top 100. You had him 38th, I believe, and I had him 91st. That's off the top of my head, so I think that's
Yeah, it
right.
was big. Yeah.
It sucks not having a second screen while I do this. That's the problem with playing a road game while you podcast. But yeah, Trimble had some really good games early in the year. I think he was awesome in there. I forget who they played in the exhibition. It might have been Memphis. He looked
Yeah, he had like
unbelievable.
40 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're buying the upside now that he's not the third fiddle to RJ Davis and Elliot Cadeau.
Absolutely. The production has to go somewhere. I think he's going to lead them in scoring. Maybe their highest use player. We'll see. Yeah, first 12 games last year, nearly 15 points per game and 40% from three. And the teams he played during that stretch included UCLA, Florida, Alabama, Michigan State, Auburn, Dayton, and Kansas. Then he got hurt, and then he wasn't as good the rest of the season, obviously. I think he can absolutely have that top gear where he finishes the top 40 player, and I expect the numbers to rise.
Yeah, it's situationally the backcourt he's playing next to. Kean Evans is a ball mover,
Spot up.
not game manager. Yeah, like, and that's kind of what Bogovac is, the international they're trying to get over. And I think he should end up eligible, but he's like big time shooter, but more like 2 assists a game, ball mover type. Trimble should be the like alpha off the bounce creator. And I think that does make sense to have him up there. And he has the potential to break through and be a star. But Kai, is UNC gonna be good enough? Is Hubert gonna do enough to maximize him? We will see. Morris Johnson, the transfer from Illinois, headed to Michigan, big man that played center for the USA FIBA U19 team this offseason. This one's kind of simple for me, Kai. Like fantastic per minute production with the Illini. Now going to a guy that really maximized his centers throughout his career, the way Dusty May has with Flag Golden. And he's not nowhere near the same player as Danny Wolf, but he can play big men together. And so I think more as with Yaxel Lendeborg, maybe not lineups with Ed Mara. That could be a little bit of an odd fit, but just a total monster rebounder, finisher, knows his role. I think it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really good. I'm a little bit worried that Mara plays more actually, and like takes the starting spot from Morez, and we look like fools for not ranking Mara and we rank Morez Johnson. But I think he has all the potential in the world. And unlike Duke Center, Morez played real minutes last year, started and actually like dominated on the floor offensively.
Yep. I will just say for anyone listening, we have a window washer outside the apartment, and the dog I'm dog sitting is losing his mind. So if we get some barking or some growling, I can't be held responsible. So
That's okay.
I apologize in advance. All right, Kai, defend your low ranking. We'll play a little game here. We talked
Yeah.
Rice and Trimble. That I was low on those guys. Jaden Bradley, I was lower on than you guys. So I guess this is contributed to my love for Burries, who I think is going to be really good as a freshman. Koa Pete, who I think is going to be really good as a freshman. I think Bradley stays more in a complementary offensive role, but he's a great defender. So that's my brief defense. I still had him at 80th. I think he's a top 100 player. Awesome transition guard for a offense that plays a lot in transition, but is a little lower just because I think I like some of the other pieces for Arizona. We don't have Matt here to defend his Miles Bird ranking, but Kai, defend your Mason Falslev. You're about 50 spots lower than Matt and I.
I am. I'd love to hear Matt's Miles Bird take in the chat if he wants to use his fingers to chat. Mason Falslev, yeah, it's a good point. I think you guys are a little high. I ranked him top 100, which I think is where he should be. Top 50, I think maybe a bridge too far. It's worth pointing out his own teammate Ian Martinez made the first team, all in WC, and not Falslev. He was second team. They played two power teams all year, Iowa and UCLA. He was really good in both those games, but I think he's handicapped a bit by being in this league and not being. San Diego State, I think, is going to be a top 20 team next year. Hence, my Bird ranking versus Falslev, who I think will be on a good Utah State team, but probably one that finishes between 60 and 100. He'll be their best player. I don't know. That's a top 100 guy for me. It's not a top 50 right now.
All right, that's fair. Am I muted still?
No, you're
No,
good.
I'm not. Good. Okay. I had only one screen. I'm scrambling. But yeah, with Martinez gone, I think Falstaff kind of ascends to that
Mm.
alpha role for them, and he does everything. Like I think he's a really good defender. He's a
He's a
shooter.
good
He can
rebounder for his
slash.
size too, right?
Yep. So the fact that he can kind of fill in the blanks while also being a star scorer, it just I couldn't go too low because I just like he's good at everything. And I think that Utah State team is going to be sneaky good. So there is some projection of that built into that ranking as well. Matt hates Miles Bird. Check the chat to see if you can get a defense on that.
Well, I think it was
Then
funny, and I'm gonna say I know Matt can't defend himself right now, haha. But he ranked Magoon like 50 spots above Bird, and I know some San Diego State guys even had questions about that one. Just putting that
Yeah.
out there.
I think Matt's a big goon breakout guy. Flashed some offensive skill level last year, but was also a stick figure, needed to add strength. Hey, he was almost a Kentucky Wildcat, Kai, but then
That would have been
the 11th hour flipped
oof.
back to San Diego State. Wonder how we would have ranked him if he was there and Kentucky didn't have Quaintance and all the domino effect
Yeah,
of that.
yeah.
Wesley Yates for solo ball, Kai. They were tied, one of our very few ties in our rankings with the cumulative points of our votes. Solo ball we put ahead because he had the higher individual vote. What do you think of these two players? They're similar-ish in that they're scoring shooting guards. I think Yates has got a little bit more variety to his game, but Ball contributed to a better team and has that coaching staff behind him.
Yeah, love both players. I think UConn's going to be a top five-ish team, and I think Solo Ball was elite at what he did last season, shoot the ball, and he's going to put up huge scoring numbers. I think he takes another jump. I've heard the defensive concerns. I think he's capable of being a better defender. He's not an unathletic guy. He's not small, right? I think he can be a better defender. I think he's just elite at what he does offensively. Yates, we could be too low on Yates because he had a excuse me, a fantastic freshman season. He really popped. USC was not very good, but man, he had a bunch of incredible games. Shot well, like you said. I think he has potential to be a good defender because he is really strong. I'm just kind of bummed that he plays next to Claude again, Jim. And we don't know about Washington. They got a lot of guys going for the ball with Peterson, with again Steinbeck, with Agnosovich. It's gonna be a weird team next season.
Yeah, Yates has got a little bit of the what does he do besides score? Like he's not a good rebounding guard.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a turnover. It was a little messy at times. He took over a little more of a playmaking role late. I mean, he played 50 minutes in a 2 OT game against Rutgers, had 6 turnovers and no assists in that game. That's not great. But the scoring production down the stretch in Big Ten play, I mean, it was like averaging 20 a game compared to early in the year when he was single digits half the time. He had a couple donuts, wasn't even starting in the non-conference when they were um, playing some of their bigger opponents. And I just think the ascent as a freshman leaping to sophomore, I think he did redshirt at Washington before, so he's a redshirt sophomore, but I still buy the upside there with him with the shot making that he has and the frame that he has. Okay, next section is 50 through 26. We will revisit the North Carolina discussion, Kai, because Henry Vasar was a controversial name.
Very.
A lot of the Arizona fans, or in our Discord, one specific one, shout out N-Dog, kicking him on the way out the door. This guy stunk. He was a backup. How can he possibly rank this highly? But he was mega productive when on the court, Kai. He's really good at a lot of things that a big man should be good at. He's got some developing skill from beyond the arc. Our guy Sam Vecini likes him to be a sneaky breakout, like late first round pick type guy. It just eye test, man. He moves so well for a big guy. I think he makes a lot of sense as a 30-minute a game breakout guy because I'm not who's taking minutes from him at North Carolina.
Nobody. I agree. I think he's going to be a very, very, very good player for UNC next year. How good is UNC going to be? That's a very good question. If Trimble and Visa are top 50 players, pretty decent. Fair to question because of the fact that he was, yeah, like he came off the bench for Arizona. But the mega productivity in those minutes, the efficiency, the rebounding, even like the rim protection that he provided, he's very, very big. He's 7 feet tall. He put on a lot of weight from his initial season. I think he redshirted in between. Um, Top 50, maybe a bridge too far, Jim. I think I rated him a little bit lower, but I see the upside and I understand. I think it's defensible. Duke fans were up in arms about UNC
Yeah,
getting two
you
guys
think you
versus
think
Duke getting one.
Henry Vasar? Would you rather have Vasar or Patrick Ngungba? I was like, I'd rather have 40 minutes of Brown and Ngungba than 30 of Vasar and 10 of whatever Garbaggio is backing him
Sure.
up. Maybe Caleb Wilson slides over to center or something. I'd rather have Duke's rotation, but I think Vasar's going to be the more productive player because he's going to play more minutes than those two guys separately because they'll cancel each other out. They steal votes from each other in a sense. All right, Kentucky's point guard, Jalen Lowe, another popular topic here
Mhm.
because he could not make a shot at Pittsburgh last year, kind of a walking brick from everywhere on the floor. But Kai, I'm just stubbornly don't think he's that bad of a shooter. I think he's going to get better shots in a much better system with better teammates. He looked really good in the little scrimmage highlights of Kentucky playing La Familia, their TBT team, which last year, like Amari Williams looked really good, and he ended up having a big year for them. I just buy it, Kai. I think he's a little bit of post type, sleeper type, where last year we thought he's going to be the massive pit star breakout after Bub Carrington went pro. And he was good, not great. And the team really circled the drain towards the end of the year. But man, the skill level I think is high. He's a good passer and he's in a much better environment now.
Yeah, a guy that I think just kind of not gave up, but lost interest as the year went on, as Pitt started losing
Yes.
games.
Red flag
Um,
there, maybe. But
yeah, he had a great freshman year, and he shot a lot better from three his freshman year. He was 41% in ACC play, 35% on decent volume overall. I think he's a better shooter than what he showed last year. He sets the table really nicely. He didn't turn the ball over last season. I think in Kentucky he's going to be a star. Next to Owe, I mean, it's going to be an electric backcourt. And yeah, I think Mark Pope is a bit better of a coach than Capel. I think he's going to maximize his talents.
yep, totally agree. Matt did not have anybody in the top 40 from Florida, which I thought was rather jarring.
Interesting.
No Condon, no Hauk, no Fland. And maybe it was because of a balance thing, and he's not here to defend himself. So, Matt, feel free to throw it in the chat if you're listening to us, if you're hearing us drag you. It was surprising, but Florida will be pretty balanced next year. Like their top four players could all average similar-ish point outputs. You can spread the playmaking out with how good passers Hauk and Condon are. I was just a little surprised Matty didn't pick a single Florida guy to really go to war for, Kai.
I think you and I both had Condon top 40, Jim. You might have had
I
Hauk
think
top
I had
40
him
as well.
15. I think I
Maybe
had Condon
15th.
15th. I
Yeah.
think I had Fland like
Oh
26th,
yeah, I had Flan
Hauk
as well, top 40.
30th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were kind of carrying the Florida banner. Matt's a Gator hater.
I'd say I'm a little bit low on Hauk too. I mean, that's a neon sign breakout flashing, right? He's going to be incredible next season.
Yeah, put big numbers up. The 4 games that Condon was out with the ankle injury,
Mhm.
and just kept it going when he went back to the bench. Like his production, I in our Florida preview that comes out a long time from now because they're very highly ranked. The splits from before Condon rolled the ankle and after, like he just became a new player. Like the confidence rose. I think he realized he could be a key piece for them. And man, the big shots he hit against Texas Tech, like he rose to the moment. I think he's going to be a stud. It's just, can he play the three? If he can play the three, then he's going to have that breakout.
I think he can.
Yeah. Yeah. Skill level's coming along. Kai, was I drunk when I ranked Floyd Badunga top 30?
Possibly.
Okay. I might have. Yeah, maybe I was.
I, I I
But
think he's going to be pretty good too, Jim. But yeah, I mean the minutes thing you can apply to him as well in terms of you didn't
for
see a lot
sure.
of him last year.
Yeah. And he's just one that I'm like, well, he has to play 30 minutes this year
Mhm.
as long as foul trouble isn't completely dragging him down. I don't love their depth. I know they got Mbia, the big man who was committed to NC State, so they have a body there, but I think he's going to be big minutes with a great point guard in Peterson. And he flew past my eye test last year. Like he's so bouncy, he's long, he's active, he's going to dunk everything, he's going to live on the glass, be a rim protector. I think he's one that I'm taking a bit of a gamble on that he could be this good. But given what else KU has and the necessity for him to produce in big minutes, I think it at least can add up and make sense to anybody that's skeptical of that. All right, Kai, let's feed the Illinois folks again here
Yep.
because you were too low on Tomi Ivasic, and
Yep.
you will admit that.
I do. Yeah. Sometimes you look back at these lists, especially right before they publish, and you're like, "Oh crap, what was I thinking there?" Again,
Yeah, uh-oh.
probably drinking heavily. Yeah, I saw a Vsich where I had him in the list. Like, what? I didn't realize that. I had him 54th in the final ballot. I'll go ahead and just expose myself. That's too low. I honestly can't explain what I was thinking there. I had him behind Owen Freeman one spot, which you ask me right now, I would take Ivisic over Freeman. So clearly a miscalculation, perhaps, Jim. I think he should have been top 40 on the ballot. I'm fine where he ended up overall. Number 37 is not a horrible spot for him. Um, but yeah, my ballot should have been higher. If it was, he probably would have gotten close to 30th, I think, what the math would have been.
Yeah, it just the role that I think he's going to play as the chief facilitator, kind of like what Amari Williams was at Kentucky last year, top of the key, play through him, um, and let him hit cutters, hit pass. I love watching his passing. I put at least one clip in my Illinois preview, maybe two, of him just like reading the defense, putting the ball, like almost surprising the recipient of the pass. Like, oh, I have a layup. Thank you. I appreciate this pass. So, really, really fun guy to watch. And he should be awesome for Illinois next year. All right, Kai, the top 25 seems relatively uncontroversial. Not a lot of people really hating on it too much. I think the biggest thing I wish we had Matt to give a full monologue on his Trey Kaufman-Renn 19th in the country ranking. Maybe it's a product of, oh, he's getting a lot of great dishes from the best passer in the country in Braden Smith. Not a great defender, admittedly. A big part of why Purdue was bottom 25 in the country in 2 point percentage defense. But he's such a skilled finisher, post player. Kai, he might have the best floater in the game, despite being a big man. Like when he catches that little pocket pass from Braden Smith and he just pops it over the top in the paint. There's nobody better. So I'm glad we balanced him out. It wasn't just a pure Matt list where Purdue fans would tear him apart.
Yeah, he was awesome. Top 10 Chem On Player of the Year last year. Yeah, he's incredible. Best post player in the game. Uh, Jim, he got a little bit of hate in the chat and here in the YouTube chat for Chad Baker Mazzara top 10
Oh
and not
yeah,
and
eighth.
TKR top 20. Boy, I like Baker Mazzara on the floor, but he's not a top 10 player in my opinion by any stretch.
Yeah, he's kind of a crazy person. Really skilled. Now, there's a chance he becomes top 10-ish in a bigger role here where he's not playing with Janai Broom and Pettiford. It's kind of him and Rodney Rice's show out there on the West Coast. He might be playing the nominal point guard, considering how Musselman likes to deploy his lineups. If he keeps his head on straight, again, he's like 26 years old. It's about time you keep your head on straight. Then he can be that good. He's that talented, but there's just a lot of ups and downs with him. He's erratic, and Kai and I were, still had him top 25, but we're a
Yeah.
little more tepid than Matthew, leaping him up into second team All American type of status.
Jim, I peeked the Discord just now. There's some debate on PJ Haggerty. A lot of people saying they would take Bennett Sturts over PJ Haggerty.
I agree.
I think you ranked him ahead of them.
Yep.
That's a system thing. I don't know. Sure, if you want to put him in the system, okay. Haggerty's an All-American again.
Yeah, I think they were both in awesome systems for what they do last year.
Yeah,
Like Haggerty playing up tempo, kind of open, loose reins from his coach, transition guy. He's fantastic in that. Getting downhill, getting to the rim, getting to the line. Sturts is in the slowest system in the country. He
yeah,
took easily the most shots in the final 10 seconds of the shot clock of anyone in the country. I think he had more than the second person by 50. Like Eric Dixon was second. Like Sturts is great in that he's super comfortable with his coach. He's in as good of environment as you're going to have, but that is what we're ranking on. We're not fully ranking vacuum. We're ranking where they are
for
next
sure.
year.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's a fun debate up there with Gillespie, with Braden Smith's ahead of these guys, but Sturts is in there. Bruce Thornton, Bruce Thornton versus Haggerty. You're a Haggerty guy, and I think we all
yeah,
had Haggerty higher.
yeah. I had Haggerty. I ended up with Haggerty really high. I didn't realize I ended up having him fifth. That's probably a little high. I don't know why I moved Boozer down again. Drunk, hammered. Oh, Lipsy. Some guy called out Lipsy, Jim. Sorry, we don't have to belabor
Is
it
it because
all.
I was low? I was low on Lipsy.
No, high, too high. He
Oh,
was an Illinois fan. He said, "Get Lipsy out of there." Lipsy is the ultimate winner. He ended up 21st on our list, by the way, because you did have him pretty low.
yeah,
He's the winner.
36th, I think.
He's
Yeah,
Is he the best point guard, like on ball defender in
it's
from a
entirely
point
possible.
of attack? I
Yeah.
mean, I think he does a lot for winning games. I know he wasn't the he was like the fourth option on offense. Who cares? He just permeates the entire thing.
Yeah, I also think he was banged up
Man,
last year.
really,
Like,
really hurt. Yes.
yeah, some of his like usage efficiency all took a little dips last year. I think he can kind of ascend back up as the pretty clear perimeter the guy without Gilbert, without Curtis Jones. I don't think Nate Heisey is taking that from him. I don't think Dominic Nelson's taking that from him, and Mason Williams is out for the year. So unless a couple of the freshmen, Toure or Bateman, coming in and sees that role, like this is Lipsy's team. I think they're going to be top 15ish, top 20 good. I just was lower because of a little bit of the offensive production, but top 40 guy for me. 21st felt totally fine as a consensus ranking. I wasn't,
Mm.
I made no case to you guys to lower him. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, I like where the
Matt and I
overall
were,
rankings ended up, Jim.
yeah, Matt and I were a little lower on AJ DeBanza. Just, I think that surprises some people with him making $7 million and winning MVP at the FIBA U19. But I think he's going to have some stretches where he fires up some weird, bad mid-range shots in an offense that can get layups and threes anytime it wants, basically. Has some other really good play finishers with Wright, Saunders, Kebaketa inside. That just like knocked him a little. He's going to absolutely be in the All-American mix, but I am much more confident in Boozer and Peterson being like
Yes.
studs, the guys for their systems, for their teams. So I was kind of glad Matt went to bat with me on that. And Kai, you want to give a any quick hand up, mea culpa on Ortega Owe?
I just looked. I have him too low. Yeah, I think
Okay.
he's gonna be awesome. I know some guys in our Discord have him top 10. I think that's totally fine. He's gonna be an awesome player. And I was kind of low on Mo D too. So Kentucky fans, I'm sorry. Although I had Jalen Lowe pretty high, I think. So there you go. I'm balancing my incorrect rankings there. Yeah, Owe, I had him 22nd. You could probably argue he should be a lot higher than that. I know Jim had him 16. Matt had him 11. All fine
Yeah.
ranks, in my opinion.
Possible All-American for sure. All right, just some quick stats, Kai. We'll close with this and then we'll get the review and close it out. There were 15 teams with 5 or 4 players in the top 150, so including that 50 honorable mention. Louisville and Illinois, the only two with 5
Wow.
mentioned. So shout out to those squads. Going to be really good offensively, both of them. 30 teams had 3 or 2 players. And we had 3 teams, Kai, with an average ranking of top 30 or higher.
Hmm.
This is Texas Tech, Kansas, and Oregon because they only had 2 players. Texas Tech, Kansas, Oregon all have the elite point guard center combo. You got Shellstad, Biddle,
Yep.
Christian Anderson, Toppin, and Badunga, Darren Peterson for Kansas. Uh,
Bookends.
w- Bookends, exactly. I think I used that 4 times in my Oregon write up. So not surprising to hear that term. Some flack given about no Lawan Watts for Texas Tech. I kind of buy it. Stepping into the
Sure.
Darion Williams role, he's not better than Darion Williams. Texas Tech fans don't kick him on the way out, but he is a very similar type player. We can play some booty ball with him. He can run a little pick and roll, not as much as Darion Williams did last year, but it makes sense to fill that spot with Watts. He's a really good bulky playmaker. Oregon, I had no considerations really for a third guy. Maybe Kwame Evans. I think I had him in range, but we talked Duke. We talked about their depth, their balance, and them being a Rorschach test lineup wise. So if you want to go back and listen to that, it was kind of at the top of this discussion.
They had four,
Some kind
four honorable mention guys total. Like top 50, Duke had 4 guys in there. So
yep, which is
span the
right
sample
up
size a
there
little bit.
with
And almost 5 to your
yeah,
point. Big Pat
yep,
almost
right
made
up
it.
there with Purdue, Houston,
Yeah.
Florida, UConn, Duke's right there. So in the company of the elite, that is how we view the Blue Devils. Some non-inclusions, guys that were brought up in the Discord: KJ Lewis of Georgetown, Doug McDaniel of Memphis. I think could have a monster year there, filling the PJ Haggerty role. Tobe Awaka, Malik Brown, Miles Rubin, Jackson Kohler, 3 different Texas players: Swain, Mark Pope. 3 different Syracuse players: Starling, Freeman, George. Toby Wall, Lawal, Latrell Wrightsell, if healthy, and Barrington Hargris to go along with Watts. Any guy that you feel like, damn, I wish I'd gotten that guy in? Or do you, relatively content? You don't think there's anything too egregious?
I joked about it in the Discord. I said I just can't rank Jackson Kohler, but he really did have a great year last season. Arguably, I would say top 10 most improved player last year in terms of just production and the way you think about him. I think it wasn't Izzo. He's called Cooper and Kohler soft in the past. Kohler was anything but soft last year. He was dominant on the glass. Really started developing a shot too, a 3-point shot, and scored. So I think he could be a glaring exclusion at the end of the year from this list.
Yeah. Like what Michigan State has to be good at to be good, he's good
He's
at
good
those
at
things. So
yes.
he's going to have to be the leader in those departments, on the glass defensively, be really stout in the paint. We did not have any international players in our top 100. That was kind of a checks and balances thing. I was higher on some of them. I think I had 4 in my top 100 and another 5 in my 101 through 150. It's just hard to know what the roles will be with those guys. I do think this class has the most high level production we've ever seen coming over, where guys were in top European leagues coming over to fill roles. I think I keep saying the one data point I cling to, Kai, is Tomi Ivasic was like the 21-year-old guy in the Adriatic League, came over and was really, really good for Illinois. It's just hard to know which of those guys are going to do it. Like I think DeRitter of Virginia is my favorite, as the oldest and going to a system that makes sense for him. Of Dallas ranked highly for Virginia Tech, but he's been real sloppy in the U20 Euro basket this summer, so maybe he was too high. I don't think that's going to bite us too badly if we, oh, two guys are really good.
Yeah,
I don't think we're going to miss like 10 guys.
it's just hard to know. It's hard to know, Jim. So I went with the known. International guys, I think there's a lot of guys hovering around 150. You can say even 100, but
Yep.
for this
Yeah,
list,
we had a
we got
lot of them in our 101 to 150 honorable mention
yep.
that they were kind of in that mix, and I think that's probably ultimately the right conservatism to have with those guys. So teams that Matt's last little note here of data, teams with no players in the top 150 but had guys just missing the cut. Texas, Syracuse, and Wake Forest. We mentioned Texas and Syracuse. A couple other teams had some fringe guys: Kansas, Vandy, Duke, Nebraska, Michigan State, all like right in that mix. Georgia, LSU, Georgetown, and Arizona State had two guys right on the cusp. Marcus Adams Jr. Kai, I know you're a big Sun Devil
Yeah,
or a fan of his for the Sun Devils.
he's gonna be good for them for a bad team. Yeah,
Yep. Good. Big numbers for bad team, most likely. Baylor, St. John's, Washington also had a couple fringe dudes right there that almost snuck into the top 150. That's it, Kai. That wraps up the data. Any further thoughts on the top 100 countdown, the discussions we had on it before we get to our review and let the people go?
my final thought is I think we ended up in a really good spot from an overall list standpoint in our combined rankings, and I think all three of our rankings had pretty clear flaws in certain spots. But as a collective, I think it turned out really well.
Yeah, I think that's the advantage of having three guys doing it versus one guy making a list is we balance out each other's biases a little bit, and player type preferences. I think that's good. It makes for a better list, but then you have the individual ranks to still stir the discussion and have certain fan bases think Kai hates their team. Some fan bases think Matt hates their team. Some people think I hate their team. So
Right.
it's good to have that. It's fun. It's good natured. All right, Kai, let's hit the review, which really got me hyped based on the title of the review.
Mikey Pop Pie scouting report from Kevin IU 19. Okay, gentlemen, love the show, but my review is here for a far more important reason. I am the older brother of the infamous 3MW listener and reviewer, Mikey Pop Pie. I'm,
Just the all-time name. All-time name.
I'm here to give you a detailed scouting report of his game in hopes you can provide some expert analysis, player comparisons, and overall feedback. Mikey is my younger brother, but he's roughly twice my size, checking in at around 6'4", 260 pounds. Woo.
Mikey been eating them pot pies, Kai. Hell
Ooh,
yeah.
man, he played offensive line in college for 4 years and uses that size plus footwork to his advantage on the basketball court. On the defensive end, he's a willing defender, sneaky athlete with great lateral quickness, and never hesitates to use a hard foul to send a message. On offense, he's all left hand, a decent shooter, but mostly an absolute freight train going to the basket. He seeks out contact in the paint and uses his wide frame to bury any defender unlucky enough to get matched up with him. I know this all too well since there are 4 brothers total in our family, and I'm the next biggest, so usually tasked with defending him in the family basketball games. Okay, on the intangible side of things, he's the best hype guy you'll ever meet, just the best teammate bringing the best vibes 24/7. Would love your take on his game, any comps that come to mind, and also he's a huge St. Joe's guy, college hoops fan, so maybe say something nice about Billy Lang and the boys. Looking at you, Kai. Thanks, boys. Keep up the good work. Billy Lang was honestly a great conversation a couple years ago, Jim. I'll say that.
Before they shipped you to the assistant the
Before
year
he
after?
didn't want to do the
Yeah.
interview next year. Yep.
Yep.
There you go.
I will say either this year you find out he has some impressive coaching work in him, or you have a new coach.
Yeah.
Because
Positive.
this is the year after the I think probably best roster he's going to have with Brown, Fleming, and Reynolds. And if he couldn't make it work then, get to the tournament, then it feels like this is do or die. So uh, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe you want a new coach. Kai, the Hawk rules. the flapping wing
Oh, the Hawk
hawk.
is awesome. I love the Hawk. Yes.
So we'll give that a nod as a St. Joe's fan. Comparisons for the game. I mean,
Mhm.
we just talked about Lawan Watts. I don't know how willing of a passer our guy here is, Mikey Pop Pie, but the freight train Kai, we had a club opponent named Wade that
Yeah.
destroyed me every single day in practice. My chest was sore all the time from him just barreling through me. I like this. Just the former offensive lineman. It's like, do you really want to get in my way? I dare you. I dare you.
The freshman Jim that played with us in basketball, Dan Tapko, who was in my fraternity, uh, he was a major football recruit. Ended up coming just regular college. Also lefty, highly athletic, weighed a ton. Yeah, I'm so impressed by the guys that can move that are like big. Like Marcus Johnson, Jim is huge in college. I don't know how lateral quick he is, but boy, he's a little frisky with his spin moves and using his body.
Yeah, Johnson's a fun one. I think lefty freight train downhill transfer. Keyshawn Hall a little bit. He's not as,
Not as
he's
burly.
not a big boy,
Yeah.
but 6'7", 235. I mean, he really he can get going
How
downhill.
about Kenneth Lofton Jr., Jim?
Oh, well. Is that too big? But yeah, Kai, did you see his picture summer league?
No, is it good?
He's he's been eaten.
Yeah. What's
Kenny
he
been
weigh now?
eaten.
What's
So
he weigh now?
I'd love to get him on a scale. I think that'd be hilarious. But
Yeah. Good
all right.
size. I wanna
Yep.
get Mikey Pop Pie up for a little rec game. We could use a
He,
6'4", 260 guy in the middle.
Yeah, the intangibles thing also just made him sound like the most fun, like bachelor party
Yeah.
accompaniment of
Yeah.
all time. Like, oh, he's great vibes and he's a big dude.
And a
And if
hard
he's funny,
hard foul
then
guy.
yeah, love that. All right, Kai, we loved it. We loved getting the scouting report on Mikey Popeye. So thank you for that 5-star review. That is it for this week. We're sorry Matt could never join. We did get to see him behind the scenes having some Gemma hang time. Shout out to the Weave. Kai, we got a hang at the bar with her very
Yes,
recently.
very nice.
That was a good time. Matt's wife also popped into the screen for a little bit. But that's it for this week. Top 100 wrap up. Appreciate everybody's thoughts on that. Make sure you get to basketunderreview.com to see the full list. And next week, Monday, the 21st, starts our top 50 countdown. So be there or be square. One team a day, Monday through Friday for 10 weeks. So we'll be counting down to number one. That'll end like late September. And then our conference previews roll out all through October on that site. So get in there, Basket Under Review, check it out. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Topic undetermined, but Kai, I think we might maybe revisit a couple of the mailbag questions that were too big to handle.
It'd be fun.
So
Yeah.
keep an eye out for that. But again, thank you for tuning in. Enjoy your weekends whenever you're listening to this, I guess, and we'll see you next time.